We're in 2024, and I still find to this day people that have been trading in the markets for 6 years and are not profitable. While on the meantime, I have new traders, which are my students, that are not only profitable, but making 5 figures a month. So what's the difference? And the difference I'm gonna describe in this video, which is the next point that I'm going to explain to you. So make sure you watch the video all the way to the end, because if you're a new trader, you can learn from it. And if you're an old trader, you can change your ways and become this new trader mindset that a lot of them are becoming successful really, really fast. And also, if you're a new trader, let me know in the comments below if this is what you actively use right now. So first things first is back in the day, sounds crazy for me to say that, but it's like back in the day when I got started, there was a ginormous lack of information. There was a huge opportunity, which was being able to become a day trader, but there wasn't a lot of people out there expressing and sharing their experiences with this opportunity. It was a very new early on thing, and nobody kind of knew that you could become successful by making this your day job or making it your full-time occupation. And there was a lack of information that a lot of people simply didn't know it was there. And only a very small group of people decided to go out there and explain their journey and educate people on how to do it. So this was good, but also bad, because the information that actually got out there was actually valuable. So the people that were educating at that time were real people with real experiences, sharing it real time at that point where you can actually learn from. But it's also bad because since it wasn't normalized in society and it wasn't something that a lot of people were doing, you were also extremely skeptical about it and you didn't believe in the fact that it's possible. And honestly, the way that people would educate and teach wouldn't be ideal. It's a very outdated version on how to do it. Compared to how nowadays in 2024, there is so much information out there that you can literally grasp onto anyone that obviously looks good, makes sense, and you can genuinely become profitable. And this is what the new traders are doing, because there is so much information out there that your personality can connect with any one of these different types of educators in the space. And it's a lot easier for you to learn and for you to be able to apply these strategies or these market approaches into the market every single day. Where back in the day when there was only 5, 6, 7 guys, you just had to adapt yourself to that person and everything around them. Now you have hundreds of people to select from, which is also kind of a double-edged sword, because it can be a little bit of information overload and you not knowing who you want to choose, where to start, who to listen to, and can you piece people's information together. So we're at that point right now where it's a little bit of an information overload, but this is only meant for those new traders that are able to filter out the bullshit. So if you're able to filter out what is literally not good and what has a red flag in front of it, and only focus on what is legit, consistent, and transparent, then you're able to actually utilize that in your favor, because you're only focusing on what matters and removing all of the other noise. And these new traders in 2024 are pretty much mastered that, and this is what has led them to success. And part of filtering out this information, they have to do this in their own environment, which is my next point, that all of these traders, it's kind of cool because they all create their own trading space. They create their own little corner in a room, a spot in the kitchen, maybe a closet that they turned into their own office, or honestly, in your room in front of your bed. But they have like their own designated spot where they go to every single day to apply the trading plan, to go watch videos like these and get educated, to take their trades, to practice your rituals, to cope with your losses or celebrate your wins. They have their own little designated spot that they can literally dedicate their own time into to themselves, where they can put time into this craft. And I'd say this is extremely important because you're in a niche and you're in a different type of business that it's you versus you. And you're the only one that's gonna be able to see if you're doing something right or doing something wrong. You're gonna be the only able one to hold yourself accountable when you're doing something wrong and celebrate your wins when you're doing something right. No one's gonna understand your journey that you're going through, and no one's going to resonate and connect with it other than you. So if you have your own little environment, your own desk, your own section, this is where you feel comfortable. This is where you feel at peace. This is where you feel 100% laser focused in, for you to apply the strategy and for you to learn what the market is giving you, and you can put to practice the skills that you're actively putting into the markets every single day. And this little space of yours is what's gonna take you to the next level. Because without you realizing, you having this little space of yours, you're putting a routine into your every single day life. And this routine is key to not only succeeding in trading, but learning from your losses and then obviously repeating your wins. And that leads me to the next point, and that is that all of these new traders become a trader. Let me explain to you what that means, because that might probably go right over your head. In order for you to become, let's say, a bodybuilder, you have to actually become a bodybuilder. Like, oh, no shit, Alex, obviously. No. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, you literally need to become one of these guys. Like, you have to show up every single day, hit every rep as hard as you can, have the diet, make sure that you're doing the cardio, make sure that you're stretching. You have to practice every aspect of it in order to become a bodybuilder. There's no cheating, there's no halfway out. Well, these guys are doing the exact same thing, but in trading. They're having their trading routine. They're showing up every single day. They're learning from the losses. They're watching videos like these. They're doing everything a trader needs to do in order to become a trader. Dude, I was working at Dunkin' Donuts 6 years ago, and never in my life did I expect myself to pick up a book and read. When my parents saw me reading a book about trading, their mind literally they just were like, what is this? Like, what's wrong with this guy? These guys that I personally know myself in high school, that were smoking weed, that were skipping school, and just not being the person that I thought they would ever become, I look at them now, and they're a trader. They have routine. They cut off all bad habits. They cut off bad people. Like, they became this new person. In order for you to become a successful trader, you have to become this new person. The person that you go into trading is not the same person that you are when you come out of there. Because the pressure that you go into as a trader and the different types of battles that you're going to face, nothing can prepare you for that. And nobody will ever be able to literally transfer that experience over to you, unlike you doing it yourself. And that is what a lot of these traders have listened to, the suggestion of people like me and other people that tell you you're about to enter a battle, and they get ready for that battle. And when they're going through it, they're embracing the whole journey of it, and they're becoming who they have to become. Because with those bad habits of you smoking weed and with you not practicing a routine, you are simply not going to cut it. It's just not gonna happen. I can guarantee you. And I'm not talking about just smoking weed in specific. I know people out there that smoke weed and are successful, by all means. Talking about my personal experience and other people that I've seen that have cut out all these bad habits, and now they're in these new rituals that I am literally dumbfounded by the fact that who they've become into. But they've become into a trader, and that's truthfully what you need at the end of the day to become successful in this space. And when I mean become a trader, I don't mean that you have to like meditate in the morning or light a candle. I don't do that myself. I never did it in my whole entire trading journey. I didn't even attempt it. Like, that's just not who I am. It's not authentic to me. But what I mean is more of like the things that you're willing to do in order to become successful, and the things that you're willing to repeat every single day until you become successful. Whether it's reading a book every single day, whether it's watching videos every single day, whether it's going to sleep late, waking up early, or waking up late, falling asleep early. Like, all of these things that you just apply every single day until you get successful, which is part of the journey and part of the process. Wherever you are in the world, whatever session you trade, it's just like throwing all these things together in order to become successful is what it is. It's not all these different types of stereotypes that you have to do in order to become a trader. No, none of that at all. And most importantly is that you are only focusing on being a trader. You're not focusing on doing e-commerce, drop shipping. You're not focused on FBA. You're not focused on whatever else that you want to be. Like, your only focus is a trader. I want to become a trader, so you put all your eggs in one basket, and that is it. It either works out for you because you did everything right, or it doesn't because you slacked off halfway. All of these people that I know, every single newbie that I've seen, they said, I was going to do this until I was successful. I had no other option. I either became successful in this or I'm fucked. And when somebody tells me, I literally get goosebumps because I'm like, bro, this guy has it in him. And you gotta have that hint inside of you. You gotta have that fire inside of you that's gonna take you to that point. And literally not focus on anything else other than your one objective, and that is to become a trader. So now I want to explain to you the number one technical thing that I've seen a lot of these new traders do. And when I found out, I was like, wow, that is fucking creative. I would have never thought about that at the beginning, but it makes total sense because you're just literally eliminating half of the work that I would be doing at the beginning, or that a lot of these traders were doing at the beginning, because you're eliminating a lot of noise. And it's gonna sound a little bit crazy, but it just works. And that is that traders are only now focusing on buys. That's it, right? Isn't that kind of crazy? Like, they are only focusing on taking a buy position. Now, what do I mean by that? That means that they master the art of reading the market in bullish sequence, obviously in higher highs and higher lows. Now, you're probably asking yourself, well, what if the market is bearish? Well, all they do is flip the chart. There is one click away that you have to right click on TradingView, click invert scale, and the chart will automatically flip around. What does that do? Well, now the market that was selling, now it looks like it's buying. And you can apply the same exact strategy, but now on a buy position. Obviously, the only difference is when you go execute the trade, instead of clicking buy, you would click sell. But you're analyzing the market as if it were to be a buy. For some reason, us humans, we have this little dilemma, and we see some things clearer than other things, even though it might be the same exact thing. And traders usually, they have a lot of difficulties differentiating a buy from a sell. They can see sells sometimes a little bit messy, but they can see buys extremely clear. Well, what if I told you that there's a hack to always look at buys? All you have to do is flip the chart, and you can see the same exact thing that you would be seeing if the market were to be a buy. The moment I found out about this, I was like, wow. Obviously in the beginning, I lost so much time trying to figure out a strategy for sell and a strategy for a buy, when it's the same exact thing. All you have to do is just flip the chart and analyze it that way. You're saving yourself 50% of the time trying to figure out if it makes more sense to sell than to buy. All you're doing is flipping the chart and looking at the exact same pattern that you would look to if it were to be a buy. And that's because the mind just works in a way where us humans think that things are going to go up. When we enter a market, we want it to buy, right? Whenever we think of the stock market, or we think of crypto, Bitcoin, we think buy, up. Nobody ever thinks of sell, down. Nobody's ever really grasped that concept. Everybody thinks something, when you buy, it's supposed to go up. The value of your house, when you buy it, you expect for it to go up. The value of a car, you would hope for you to buy it and it would go up. A watch, you buy, it goes up. We never buy something, or we never invest into something with the mindset that it's gonna go down, and nonetheless think that you're gonna make money when it goes down. It just logically does not make sense in our mind. It's just the way how we've been brought up over the years. It's not our fault, it's our parents' fault. So if you're not a good seller, blame it on your parents. And you should subscribe the button because of that, because it's just funny. Just hit the subscribe button. But back to the examples, us humans just simply understand the concept of always buying something for it to go up. Or whenever we invest money into something, we never think of us betting that it's going to go down. With that being said, now on step 2, which is on the technical aspect, and this is gonna kind of hit a lot of new beginner trainers like right in the heart, and that is to not focus on the entry signal. I cannot explain to you how many of you guys comment on my videos. What is the entry signal? What is the entry signal? How do I know when to enter? How do I know this? And that is literally the last step. This is what the new beginners have finally mastered, and that is that entering the trade is not the main focus. It is everything you do before entering the trade. For example, let's say you're going to invest into a real estate property. You're not gonna ask an investor, how do I buy the property? Like, how do I buy? Where do I sign? Where do I get a loan? Like, that's not the first thing you're gonna do. The first thing you need to do in order for this to be a successful transaction and you make money with it is it in the right location? Does it have potential to go up in value? Does it need renovation? Is there a possible rental? Is it a good flip? Like, you need to think about all the things behind the scenes first to see if it even makes sense to make this investment on this real estate property. You're not gonna just go into real estate investing and be like, how do I buy it? Where do I send the money? That's how you're gonna lose a fuck ton of money. That just doesn't work. You need to do the logistical back end work first in order for the deal to make sense. Same thing in trading. You can't think about entering a trade without you knowing how to read the market first. First, you gotta learn how to read the market. What is the market telling you? Are we going up or are we going down? Are we at a good area to buy? Are we good in an area to sell? Are we having my trading plan check out? Are we not? Like, you need to first understand what is the market doing before you enter the trade. And these new traders, they've mastered the arts of focusing on everything but the entry signal and leaving that for last. Because obviously the entry point is the point of execution and everybody wants to know how do you do that or where should you enter. But you need to make sure that first the trade even overall makes sense. Because entering a trade is literally the last thing. And that takes me to step number 3. That as soon as you know how to enter the trade and as soon as you figured out all of this stuff out, you don't want to back test this shit. You don't want to waste time going and back testing. You're going to take this live right away. And that is exactly what these new beginner trades do. They literally either go deposit money into their own live account or they go and get funded immediately. They waste no time. Now, this is key because you put a lot of things to test here. You put to test your trading plan, you put to test your concept, your risk management, your routine, you put everything to test immediately. Versus if you think you got it figured out and then you go to back test and then you waste 2-3 months back testing and trying to add and renovate and move around and just simply waste time. These new traders, they are not wasting time. These guys want to be successful today. So what do? They put it to test today. And the moment they put it to test, they put it to work every single day until they succeed. They're not wasting any time back testing something that happened 2 years ago when they have the opportunity to execute on it today. And this is something that I have always pushed and something that I personally did myself. I never back tested one day in my life. There was not one day, probably like a day or two, just to see how that tool worked. But I did not back test anything. From the moment that I figured out how to execute a trade, and for me to think that I was right, I was executing a trade. Now, cost me a lot of money at the beginning, cost me 2 years of losses and thousands of dollars in losses, but I'm telling you that it definitely paid out because I learned from those mistakes and I was able to physically feel what it felt like to lose money into something that I thought I was 100% right. You can never have that same feeling if you're back testing. It just won't happen. The feeling that you get from losing and the feeling you get from winning is what builds character and it builds you that person as a trader that you literally need to become in order to be successful. Now, moving on to step 4, they understand that less is more. Now, this is a very difficult concept for a new person to grasp. And honestly, I am surprised that a lot of these traders grasp it at the beginning because when I see you guys in person, I like talking to you guys and I like understanding, what are you doing? How are you doing it? Do you get this? Do you not get this? How long have you been doing it? And they understand that the less they do in the markets and the less they're involved, the more money they're going to make. They understand that trading is not like a job. It's not something that you show up every single day and say, all right, I'm clocking in today and I'm gonna clock out at this time and I'm gonna make that much money for putting in that much work. The market owes me money because I put time into it. No, that is not how this works at all. They understand that you make money in the market by making the right decisions. And sometimes those right decisions, you don't have to do it every day or every other day, or sometimes even every week. You only do it when it's the right time to make a right decision. Now, those right decisions come less than often than you would expect. That's why in order for you to be successful as a newbie trader, less is more. You don't have to make that decision every single day. You can make it whenever the market gives you the opportunity to make that decision. And by making more of the right decisions and less of the wrong decisions, you make more money. Now, this is something you grasp over time and obviously repetition and just simply showing up every single day and making the wrong decisions a lot of times will teach you this. But these guys figured it out very fast that they don't have to learn by taking losses. They just learn by only focusing on taking wins, and that the less time that they actually spend on the markets, they make more money. Now, this is a little bit of reverse psychology or reverse engineering, and it's you have to put in the time at the beginning, but after you put in the time, you don't have to put in the time. It's like if you want to become a pilot, you have to put in your 400 hours or however many hours it is to become a pilot so you get your certification. But then after that, you kind of don't forget that skill. You can then go fly once a year, once every 2 months, and you know exactly what you're doing. But at the beginning, in order for you to get that certification, you had to put in that time. Well, it's the same exact thing with trading. Now moving on to step 5, and this is by far the most hack and cheat code that I wish I had when I began trading, and it's become the normal for all of these new traders, and they have killed this concept and they have grasped it and ran with it, and they have even bankrupt a lot of these companies. And that is that a lot of these traders are not trading their own money. They're getting funded. These guys are literally passing these challenges left and right. They're making this shit look fucking easy. I think I was personally one of the first people to come across prop firms in around 2019, 2020. And I was extremely skeptical about it at the time because I didn't believe that they were real or that they worked out. And obviously after time, I gave it a shot and obviously got my first payout. And then it just started getting more normalized in the industry. But there wasn't that many different offers, and the challenges were actually extremely difficult at that time with very limited time and very hard take profits. Now, these traders are getting access to 10 times more of the money that I did when I got started, and the challenges are 100 times easier. You have unlimited time, smaller take profits, you can use EAs in your advantage, you can do so many different things to actually get funded. So a lot of these traders are not using their own money. So they pretty much have a lot more bankroll than you can imagine. Because imagine that you were to be a new beginner trader and you come into the markets and you would have $2,000 to invest into the market. Well, if you were to start when I did, that's all you had. All you had was $2,000 to start with. And that's it. You had to make something out of those $2,000. But let's say you were to go to Rocket 21. With those $2,000, you can split it up in different types of payments. You can get a 100K challenge for $400. For $400, you can get access to $100,000. Let's say you fail the challenge about 2-3 times, and on the 4th one you get it. You just got access to $100,000 that you would have never gotten access to with the first 2,000 if you would have initially started off with it. So you have a lot more bankroll than you can ever imagine. And by you taking on this challenge, you're forcing yourself to follow a trading plan. You're forcing yourself to follow risk management rules because the prop firms have minimum drawdown and minimum weekly, minimum total risk, and you have a take profit. So you're working towards a goal with X amount of time. Like, you are literally forced to become a successful trader. The evaluation process on Rocket 21 is 8% on stage 1 and 8% on stage 2. When I got started, you had 30 days on stage 1, 60 days on stage 2. Now, Rocket 21, you have unlimited time, meaning you can take your sweet time to get funded. And on top of that, you keep more of the money. Rocket 21 has about a 90% profit split. I got 70. So it was a lot harder to make money back then, and it wasn't normalized versus now. You can literally leverage $400 like nobody could have ever done it 5 years ago. And on top of that, it's a lot more normalized in the industry. So you have a lot more to pick from, a lot more ways to actually approach the funding route compared to before where it's just retail. Now, to put this into simple perspective, imagine you were to put those $2,000 into your own live account and you were to make 10% of that. You'd have made $200. You're not paying shit with $200. You're barely paying the light bill. And let's say you would have gotten $400 out of those 2,000, and you would have bought a challenge, passed, got funded, and then you made the same 10%. Now you just made $10,000 out of nothing, out of $400 that once you pass the challenge, they give you a refund plus your 90% profit split. You just made $9,000 plus your money back with no risk associated taking the same exact trades, making the same exact percentage. It is the cheat code of the century. And I'm not saying that it's easier, because let's say you failed the first time. Let's say you failed the second time, the third, the fourth, and you got it on the fifth. Dude, you just got access to more money that you would have ever gotten to if you would have flipped those 2,000 5 times. You have more money than you can have ever touched in your life with the same starting balance. So if you guys want to check out the easiest evaluation process in the industry to today, go check out rocket21challenge.com. So I recommend 10 out of 10. And honestly, your access to become a newbie successful trader has gotten a whole lot easier. And that takes me to step 6, and that is that new traders understand risk management. Everybody's dream as a trader is to come into the market and flip $1,000 into 10,000, turn $100 into $1 million, which I tried that, failed horribly, but at least I tried. And they understand that just because it's available out there to them, it doesn't mean that it's sustainable. They've accepted the fact that they can attempt this, they can take a try at trying to flip an account, and it's possible, but they know that it's not sustainable. They understand that the art of flipping an account is not something that you can do every single day, every single week, or rely on to actually make money in the markets. In order for you to actually make money in the markets, you need to have a proper risk management strategy. You can't just show up into the market and decide, today I'm gonna risk 50% of my account, or I'm going to risk whatever money you decide to, or this trade, I think it's good, so I risk more. The next trade, I think it's so I risk less. No. That shit does not fly, that shit does not work. You pick one percentage that you decide to take, and every single trade is exactly the same. You do not modify the percentage more or less. You do not change the type of trade for more or less. It is the same exact thing every single time. And this risk management strategy that 99%, actually, fuck that, 100% of all these newbie traders are using is what takes them to that next point. Because you can have the best strategy in the world, you can have the best entry, the best trend continuation, the best everything. And if you do not have proper risk management, you will not succeed. And this has now become the normal in this industry, and traders understand that you need it. At the beginning, when I got started, you didn't need that. Everybody was just flipping accounts, turning this into this, taking this to this, and that was something that was normalized back then. And that's what traders were making a living out of. Little did I know that none of that shit was ever sustainable. Just because the possibility is out there to do it does not mean you can do it every single day. As time started going on, traders started to actually realize that it's not real, and they built a standard percentage per trade, whether it's going to be 1%, 2%, 3%, max it should ever be is 4% per trade, and you stick to that every single trade. Never do you ever want to risk 2% on one trade, and after you win, then you want to double that percent to 4%. You never want to do that, because if you lose that trade, not only do you just lose all the money you made on the first trade, but you lose the percentage that you would have originally taken. You need to risk the same percentage on every single trade, whether you're on a 5-win trade or whether you're on a 10-loss trade. You never want to chase any type of trade by risking more money to make back X amount of money. That is how you enter a downward spiral of just P&L that's all over the place. You want to have the same exact percentage that you risk per every single trade. Now, might sound like a broken record, repeating this time and time again, but I am telling you right now, this is the key to becoming successful. Because even if you have a 30% win rate, literally out of 10 trades, you only win 3 of them, which is very hard to only have a 30% win rate. Like, you actually have to suck. And if you suck that bad and you have a 30% win rate and you have a good risk management strategy, you are still profitable. And that is because out of the 3 trades that you win, you're going to have a 1-to-3 risk to reward ratio. Meaning, for every single trade that you lose 1%. And for every single trade that you win 3%. So out of that 3 trades that you have just won, you won 3% per trade. So it'd be 3, 6, 9. And let's say you lost 7 trades in a row, you just lost 7%. So with the 9% you just won, you made back the 7% losses and you stayed 2% positive. Now, let's say that you were to risk 2% on one win and then 5% on one loss and then 1% on another win, and then the rest are losses. You're not going to ever be successful because your P&L is not structured, it's not the same. If you have the same percentage that you risk and the same risk to reward, I can guarantee you, you will be successful even if you are the shittiest trader on the face of the earth. Guaranteed. And this doesn't matter if you're a newbie trader, like 90% of my students, or if you're an OG trader like myself. You need a strategy to follow. And that is why 90% of the new successful traders in the industry are with the set and forget strategy, because it is the simplest strategy that teaches traders how to make anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a week as a beginner set and forget trader. And you're probably wondering what set and forget is and how does it make people this money. There's a video in the link in the description below that explains to you exactly what it is completely for free. Just watch the video so you can see how traders can make anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a week as a beginner set and forget trader. This way you can see how newbie traders are now killing it, and you can actually get on a call with me every single Sunday so I can make sure your success is guaranteed, along with everything that I teach you on a live call. Appreciate you guys watching this video all the way to the end. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you inside. Set and forget.